The defendants do not have authority under this law to a blanket mandatory ban against a face mask policy that does not provide a parental opt-out. They simply do not have that authority. The evidence clearly demonstrates that the recommendation of the CDC for universal masking of students, teachers, and staff represents the overwhelming consensus of scientists, medical doctors, and medical organizations. The evidence submitted by the defendant, I think, reflects a minority, perhaps even a small minority, of medical and scientific opinion. That's the reason I can't say there's no rational basis for the governor's policy under a different legal theory in a different county. You can agree or disagree. Both sides may end up appealing this order. So, although no individual school system's policy is in front of me, I have heard significant evidence concerning the medical and scientific basis for face mask policies, and I conclude that this evidence demonstrates that face mask policies that follow CDC guidance are, at this point in time, reasonable and consistent with the best scientific and medical opinion and guidance in the country at this time. The purpose of the executive order and the actions it set in motion were to prohibit local school boards from adopting face mask mandates that did not include a parental opt-out provision. The defendants have contended by their actions and positions in this case that the Florida Parents' Bill of Rights authorizes them to enforce this blanket prohibition. The defendants have additionally used threats of enforcement and enforcement actions generated as a result of the executive order to enforce this blanket prohibition. The defendants contend that the Parents' Bill of Rights, as referenced in the executive order, authorized actions of the defendants seeking to enforce the blanket prohibition from school boards adopting face mask mandates which did not include a parental opt-out provision. The defendant's assertion in this regard is incorrect because the Parents' Bill of Rights does not ban school board face mask mandates. The law expressly permits school boards to adopt policies regarding the health care of students, such as a face mask mandate, even if a parent disagrees with that policy. Therefore, an executive order and or an agency action or an executive action which bans under all circumstances a face mask mandate for school children without a parental opt-out does not meet constitutional muster because such action exceeds the authority given to the defendants under the Parents' Bill of Rights law passed by the Florida legislature. Seeking to enforce a policy through the executive order and through actions that violate the provisions of the Parents' Bill of Rights is by definition arbitrary and capricious because there is no reasonable or rational justification for not no reasonable or rational justification for not following all of the provisions of a duly enacted and authorized Florida law. A policy or action which violates the Parents' Bill of Rights cannot be lawfully enforced by the defendants.